Hello ambitious fam, welcome to my channel. Guys, this video has been long awaited and I apologize for all the people that have asked me for my study routine so many times in the past, but it is finally here and I'm very happy to finally give it to you guys. Before medical school, I always would hear this analogy saying that, you know, the fire hose analogy or the pancake analogy. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, and this would make me extremely nervous to start medical school. So I knew before medical school that I wanted to find something that worked for me and, you know, prior to, so that I wasn't scrambling to find something once I started. And if you're someone, you know, that's about to start medical school or you want to in the future, I highly recommend watching this video. Not because your routine has to be something, you know, exactly like mine or honestly anything like mine, but just because I know that watching these type of videos before medical school is what helped me know what I wanted to do right away. And yeah, so this video I will give you guys all the details on what I'm doing, what I did my entire first year of medical school, and hopefully that will help you guys out. So let's get into it. Okay, what's up you guys? My name is Dominique Galloway, by the way, if you're new here, and I'm a rising second year medical student. And to start out, I would like to say that the information in medical school, or a majority of the information, isn't difficult. I feel like it's really just the amount of information that you're given that can be very overwhelming. So finding something that works for you and is sustainable, I feel like is the most important thing when it comes to having a successful medical school experience. So I want to be able to help you guys out by giving you guys what I do, or also what I did my first year. And you know, if that helps you in any way, that makes me happy. So just to let you guys know, I organized this video into 4 categories. I have my I have my laptop right here, and I'm going to be looking at it just to make sure I don't miss anything. But these 4 categories are, first, I'm going to talk about what my typical class schedule looks like, because I feel like that's important in deciding what your routine will look like as well. So my second category is my personal study routine. The third part, we'll talk about what I would do in addition to my study routine a few days before the exam. And then the fourth category is basically what I changed throughout my first year and what I feel like I want to change in the future and in my second year of medical school. So let's get started. All right, you guys, so I'm gonna start off with my typical class schedule. So my first and second semester were a little bit different, but typically I would have class every day, Monday through Friday from 8 to 12. And then on Mondays, we would also have CPM, which is clinical practice of medicine, and I would have that from 1 to 4. 1 to 2 o'clock was the lecture, and then 2 to 4 o'clock was our seminar where we practiced our clinical skills in person. So yeah, in our first semester, instead of lectures every day though, we would have gross anatomy lab I would have gross anatomy lab on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe that was the schedule. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would have gross anatomy lab from 8 to 12 as well. So I would have to be there in person, whereas my other classes, most of them were all recorded, so I was able to watch them at home. So that was a typical schedule. In addition to that, we would sometimes swap out a lecture for like a case-based learning or an active learning session. And this is where we came in to the class and we were all required to be there to go over different patient cases, different scenarios. We would answer questions as a group. And I think once or twice a week we would have quizzes throughout the year. This could be like a histology quiz, but also sometimes we would have like actual lecture quizzes as well. Now I'm gonna go into my study routine, you guys. So everyone knows, if you guys have been following along with my journey, if you guys are not new here, you guys know I love Anki, and that is my primary way to study. I just don't know what I would do without Anki, to be honest. And if you don't know what Anki is, it's basically like a tool to review material using spaced repetition, and that is just the way that I learn. It's extremely efficient for me, so I make sure that I do Anki every single day. So I'm gonna tell you guys that I have like 3 parts to my routine. Number 1, I do all of my due or review cards for Anki in the morning. So that's all of the cards that I had from previous lectures, like all my reviews that I have from days prior to that. Then I would go and watch my lectures for that day. And that's, you know, I have 4 hours of lecture, so I'd watch that on 2 times speed and take notes and, you know, pause if I needed to, rewind if I needed to. And then after I watched my lectures, I would then go into doing my new cards for those corresponding lectures. So I would unlock all the cards that corresponded with those lectures and do that in the afternoon. So that is the layout of my day. Of course, I would take breaks in between sometimes. Of course, some days would be longer than others, but no matter what, that was the layout of my day. So yeah, at my school, we actually have students that made pre-made decks as well that corresponded to every single lecture. So that was extremely helpful because I was able to just unlock the exact deck that I did, that I watched for that day, and I didn't have to think about, oh my gosh, I have to create all these cards for it. I do realize that other people do have to do that. They may not have pre-made decks. So definitely think about that or try to find that out before medical school, if you have pre-made decks out there or not, or if you have to make your own decks, or if you want to just do that, because some people just want to make their own decks no matter what. So yeah, figure that out. I knew I did not want to do that, and I felt like for myself, I didn't have time to create all the different cards, so I would just unlock those decks. What I would do is I would usually wake up at between 6 to 8 a.m. depending on the day. I thought I was gonna be one of those medical students that woke up at 5, but that definitely did not happen. So I'd wake up, I would spend usually an hour to an hour and a half doing other things that I want to do in the morning. So I would pray, I would do my Bible devotional for the day, I would worship, I would make like protein oatmeal, because that's usually, a quick breakfast I could have every morning. And then I would also, if you guys know from my previous vlogs, I would go over my Spanish. So I am working on becoming fluent in Spanish, and I usually watch like YouTube videos where I just like listen to Spanish, or I go over different cards of just different phrases that I want to make sure that I'm retaining. So that was kind of what I would do for Spanish. I wouldn't do this every single day, depending on the day, but I would try to make sure that I was going over Spanish consistently. And then also I've been analyzing the foreign exchange market, so I would usually do that in the morning as well. And I would maybe enter a trade that day, or just see when I would like to enter a trade for that week. So that's usually what my morning consisted of before I go into studies. So yeah, after I do those things that I'm passionate about outside of medicine, I would then go into my review cards. So I try to start my review cards no later than 9 a.m. So hopefully it's about 8 a.m. Sometimes even 7:30, but no later than 9 a.m. I feel like when I'm starting my review cards. So I start the review cards, I do that, and then after I finish, hopefully no later than 11 to 12 p.m., I then do my lectures for the day. So guys, we have lectures, like I said, every day from 8 to 12 from Monday through Friday. Personally, I like watching my lectures at home on 2x speed, mainly because I feel like it's more efficient for me to get things done faster. And also I feel like I'm able to pause, I'm able to go back if I need to, I'm able to take notes at a pace that's good for me. And I don't have to worry about missing details and having to rewatch the lecture. So I try to take really good notes throughout the lecture, mainly because I know I'm never going to watch the lecture ever again. So when I open up my deck, for those lectures, I'm able to just screenshot my slide and put it into the card, or just add any notes to that card that I feel like might have been missing, or if I feel like the card wasn't thorough enough for me, I can just add my notes right there. And that's kind of the last time I ever look at that lecture or slides again. After I watch the lecture, that is when I take probably another break, 30 minutes to an hour max. I try not to take too long. Sometimes I take a nap, sometimes I just watch YouTube or talk to my fiance Tyler. Like, it really depends on the day, but I try not to go past an hour of a break after my lectures. So then after that, I go into unlocking all the decks that corresponded with those lectures. I just go to Anki. I'm gonna do probably another video where I do like an Anki tutorial, but basically I just unlock the deck. I go through them. I basically am just like testing myself, seeing how much of the lecture I retained and understand. I add notes where I feel like I need to add notes. I usually don't add my own cards, but very few times I feel like there's a big gap that I need to fill, so I'll like add a couple cards here and there if I feel like that's necessary. Like I said before, I don't ever go back to my notes really ever again, or ever watch the lecture again. So if it's not on Anki, then I just simply won't see it ever again. Also, I do realize that I'm a lot more productive and just energized throughout the day. Usually by 6 or 7 p.m. I don't have anything in me to really study new material, so I usually am done with all my cards by 6 or 7 p.m. and then I have the rest of the day to just do whatever I want to do. I go to the gym, I go on YouTube, I create content, I talk to Tyler, my fiance, I relax, I go on Netflix. Usually I'm doing anything after 7 p.m. and then I'm usually in bed by 9 or 10 p.m. still talking to Tyler, and I go to sleep by 12 a.m. where I fall asleep. So that is kind of what I usually do after I study. There are some days that I go longer than usual. So if I'm studying or doing my cards up until 9 or 10 p.m., then I usually just get ready for bed immediately after that, and I just relax for the rest of the night until 12, and then I repeat the day again. So yeah, that's usually what my Monday through Friday looks like. On the weekends, I don't have any new lectures, so that's amazing because I just simply do my reviews on Saturday and Sunday, and I'm usually done, or I try to be done by 12 p.m. so that the rest of the day on my weekend, I am completely free and I'm able to do whatever I want to do. Once again, that consists of anything. Like, I usually batch create content for Instagram, for TikTok. I can record videos. I can edit my YouTube videos. I can just talk to my friends, my family, Tyler. I can relax the entire time. Like, it really depends on how I feel, but that's usually kind of what my weekend consists of. Also, one thing I want to clarify is that I use Anki to actually understand. I don't use it to just memorize. I feel like if I were to just watch lectures again or just read my notes again, I feel like that would be very passive, and I feel like I wouldn't be actually understanding and actually retaining what I'm going over. So that's why I love Anki, because I really feel like I'm actively learning and testing myself every single day, no matter what. Also guys, in order to use Anki effectively, you have to be doing it every day. Because not only will, I feel like every single day there's a new set of cards and a new set of reviews that you have to do. So if you don't do it every day, you're going to have like an even bigger stack of cards the next day and the next day, and it's going to literally grow into maybe an impossible amount. So I highly recommend doing it every day so you don't ever have that problem. But also, in addition, I feel like doing it every day allows you to have enough passes of that material before the exam so that you literally cannot forget what you went over. I feel like by the time the exam comes, I feel like I've gone over the material so much, literally 2 to 3 days before the exam, I almost feel like I don't even have to study anymore because I know the material so well that I'm actually annoyed by the material. And like, I know that sounds like wild, but you actually want to get to that point where you're so annoyed by the material that you don't even want to do it anymore. And that's what usually happens for me. So that's why I like Anki. I never feel like I'm missing a lecture or forgetting something because I already know it's on the algorithm. I'm going to hit it a couple times before the exam. All right, you all. So now I'm going to move on to the next category, which is what I do a few days before an exam. So I did say I never feel like I'm ever cramming because of Anki. So yes, I'm continuing to do my cards every day, even up to the day of the exam. Like that morning, I will do my reviews that morning usually as well. So I don't skip out my Anki cards, but in addition to doing this, usually 3 days before the exam, our professor gives out either like a practice exam or practice questions. So I usually take this practice exam 2 to 3 days before, and I just go through it. I time myself, especially for the practice exam, to see how I do, and then I score myself and see how well I did. The next day after that, so usually 1 to 2 days before the exam, I then go over the entire exam or the questions, and I see kind of where I went wrong. I make sure I understand why I got something correct, but also more importantly, go over the questions that I got wrong to see where I went wrong, why I didn't understand it. And only if I truly feel like I still don't understand why I got that question wrong will I go back to that specific lecture. But other than that, I never, ever look at my notes again. All right, so now for the next category, I'm gonna talk about what I changed throughout my first year of medical school and what I feel like will change in the future. So first of all, I will say that I feel like this routine has been extremely effective for me. Literally, I started this routine the first week of school, and pretty much the foundation of it has never changed. I will say though, in the beginning of the school year, I did try to do previewing the material because I would watch these different YouTube videos that talk about previewing the material. Personally, I didn't feel like I had enough time to do that, so I just completely took out the preview part. So I really try to understand the material that first pass during lecture, and then I just continue reviewing it after that. Also, you guys, I don't do the Pomodoro technique anymore. I tried doing that in the beginning. For me, I feel like it's better for me to just start a task, completely go all in on that task, finish it, and then I'm able to take a break. For instance, if I have my review cards in the morning, I don't take like a break in between the review cards. I do all my review cards in the morning, and then I take a break. And then I do all my lectures, and then I take a break. And then I do all my new cards, and then I take a break. So that's what works for me. Of course, I listen to my body always. Like if I have to take a break in between, then I do that. It's not like it's like an all or nothing mentality. Like I listen to my body. I do what I feel like is best for me. So if I have to take a break earlier than that, I will do that. There are days that I take like a 2-hour nap, or I take a 2-hour break and I end up just watching a movie. Like it happens, and that's, you know, of course that will extend my hours of studying in the night, but it is what it is. Like not every day is going to be exactly the same. Not every day is going to be perfect. Also, for what I feel like will change in the future. So for instance, guys, we have our step 1 the end of my second year, and I just know that wasn't a priority for me this past year, and I didn't really focus on that or try to prepare for that at all. And pretty much when I was done with the block, I completely just suspended those cards, and I would just focus on the cards that had to do with the block that I was currently in. So this upcoming year, I plan on implementing Anking a lot more. So I was able to use Anking a little bit throughout my first year. I think I used it in Immuno, Heme. I definitely used it for micro. So I used Sketchy Micro videos, and I also did the Anking decks for Sketchy Micro. So I definitely used that for that, but I would always suspend the cards after I finished the block. This upcoming year, guys, I'm going to continue using those same cards on Anking throughout the entire year, because I feel like that's going to prepare me a lot more for STEP, and I feel like I won't have to like cram a lot during my dedicated study period. Of course, it's going to be more cards to do and just more material to go over, but I feel like long term it's the best option. I also will probably implement more board style questions on my weekends, so that I get used to how step 1 is going to ask me questions. I get used to that type of material. So that's 2 things I think I want to add. I will definitely do an updated video in the future for what my study schedule looks like when it comes to preparing for STEP, as well as studying in medical school in general, and stay on the lookout for that. But that is my full study routine. I hope that made sense. I hope you guys got something out of it. And if you guys want to implement any part of it, that's cool. If you don't, that's also cool. If you guys have any study strategies that you want to discuss or comment, definitely leave them in the comments below so that we can all help each other out. And if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely like it, subscribe, and join the Ambitious fam if you haven't yet. And also click that notification bell so you guys are up to date on all of my new videos every week. I am so happy that you guys watched this video. I thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.